We'll do 1 minute of 3-step rhythmic breathing. Good afternoon. We try to understand two words. Are there any questions before we go further? Any questions?
Some people have asked questions about the last point you mentioned in the morning talk around those 75 to 77-year period. If you could elaborate on that.
Okay. So, what was said in the morning was at 76 years and 10 months, that is 28,080 days from the day we are born, all the planets come into the same position as they were at the time of our birth. So the same fundamental note which rang which was struck at the hour of our birth, it repeats itself. The energy of birth being the energy of death, The energy of death being the energy of birth. So this is the strike of the energy of death. The body may last 10 years more, the body may last 15 years more, but this position is only going to come once at 76 years and 10 months. So the idea is, can we work for that position when the planets are coming into that formation? So it would be now in resonance as the imparted note comes closer to the fundamental note, the fundamental structure in which is giving out that vibration, which is vibrating at that frequency, many things start changing in that structure. So we will just, for our purpose of understanding, put two lines, 75 years and 10 months and 76 years and 10 months in the middle and 77 years and 10 months on the top. So it will be a period of 2 years. Period of 2 years. In this period, the changes are going to start happening. Right? So as we cross over 75 years and 10 months, the changes will start happening, because now the planets are coming towards the original frequency. So the whole inner psychological structure, which is vibrating at that original frequency, will start picking up that things are coming closer, and many psychological changes will happen. Many attitudes, many habits will start changing automatically. Supposing I'm a very, fastidious person, and if you come to stay with me, I poke my nose in everything. So if after lunch you're putting your plate, I say, don't put it there, put it in the sink over there, right? And if you're taking out your shoes, arrange your shoes properly before you come in the home, right? So I'm a very, every small detail I want to interfere in. Now, this is a habit of mine. It is an acquired habit. It is not something with which you are born. And because of that habit, most of my attention is wasted in the, insignificant things in life. Right? I'm very bothered about whether her dress is matching the other part of the dress she is wearing. Right? So I am only bothered about the insignificant things in life, and that takes away all my attention. And this attention is needed to go in to realize the divine. But I'm wasting it in all over the place. And this habit is deeply engraved within me. But supposing tomorrow I fall ill, and in illness, the instinctive center stops sending energy to other centers of the body. It stops sending to the intellectual. So in my illness, I may want to read a book and think about the book, but right, you can't read it because the instinctive center is not sending energy to the intellectual center, right? In my illness, I may be bothered about what my grandson or granddaughter are doing all the time. But suddenly in the illness, They may be doing anything, they may be breaking the cup or plate or whatever. I'm not bothered. So, in certain illnesses, we automatically come into a certain kind of vairagya, certain kind of renunciation. Of course, tomorrow we'll get better and the old habit will come back again. Now, when the planets are coming back to the original vibration, the whole psychic structure is shaken up. And so many habits are broken in that shaking up of the psychic structure. So I may have what you call been very stingy about my money, very mean about my money for 75 years, right? But suddenly things may change after I'm 75 because now the vibrations are coming closer and they are shaking my psychic structure. That attitude towards money is changing. Am I coming across with this, right? Are you able to? So we will put a marking in our calendar. I'm 75 years and 10 months, and I'm moving towards 77 years and 10 months, right? And in between is going to be that part where the fundamental vibration of my life is going to repeat. And in that, there can be a crumbling of the whole psychic structure. This psychic structure is not something new. This psychic structure has been built over, we can say, many births. It has been built. This psychic structure is what I am. So here there's a very great possibility for the old to die and the new to be born. A very great possibility that I die at a different level to what I was born as. I was born at a certain level of consciousness. I die at a much higher level of consciousness. When I re-enter life, I re-enter at a higher level. So, this period is a very special and very, what you call, precious period. I think there are some of us who are approaching this thing. At least I'll be 70 this year, so I'm slowly approaching that period, right? And it would be nice to give an added push to the vibrations, to give them a kind of shock, a push forward. So, if we are practicing the Omkar and we are taking the Omkar through the bass, through the flat, through the shrill, and then we concentrate on the shrill, and through the shrill we create a resonance and that resonance, if it persists, then as this moment in our life approaches, people go to gurus, people go to ashrams, they spend their whole life in a struggle to rise to higher consciousness. In that moment, you'll take the quantum jump. Right? So, that is what I was trying to say in the morning. So, the planets will be coming close. At 76 and 10 months, they'll synchronize and then they'll be going far. Right? And in that period, a lot of changes, what we could not do in our whole life of 75 years, we could achieve in that small period of 2 years. So I think this answers the question, I think. If there's any other question, I don't know.
Raju, I have two questions.
Yeah.
One is I've observed when you do Omkar, right? There are some days, depending, I think time also matters, but the Makar is effortless. And some days, it even doesn't last a little, right? That's the one part of it. The other which confuses me is when you say Omkar. As you said in the morning, from Paramnath, you come to when you say Omkar is Stul Vakri, right? You orally say it. How can it affect the thought forms or the emotional state, which is maybe thought form is Madhyama or the emotional state, I don't know where it is. So how can that affect, as you said, right, it's shaken up and the habits changes. But isn't the type of form different? Or do
I
we
didn't get it.
So when you say Omkar,
Right.
it's Vyakrit, you say it through mouth, sthul, right? But the emotional patterns or the thought forms are Madhyama, right? So how can it affect?
Oh, that I'm going to take in today's talk, the second part.
Yeah. And the first part is, when you say Omkar, depending on that time, sometimes, the Makar is effortless, but sometimes it doesn't even last little, you know.
So you're saying it in the morning,
Yeah. So,
yeah, and usually in the morning our muscles are very tight. Right. So then that same day say it in the evening again, right? Where you have felt some stiffness in saying the Merkar. I'm changing the Merkar just now. I'm coming to a different kind of Merkar, right? So we'll go through this, right? I want you to be able to concentrate on the Merkar because it is the Merkar which creates resonance, right? Okay. Okay. Now we'll try to understand two words, signifier and the signified. Right? So the signifier could be a physical form or a gross form. In the sound, it could be a word or an image or some signal, in the sense that when you stop at a red light, the red light is a signifier. What does it signify? Stopping at the red light does not tell you to stop. We have understood it as a signal or a sign to stop, right? Similarly, the signifier is at the plane of expression which is observable or by the five senses. That is, it could be heard by the ear, seen by the eye, right? The signified may be in another dimension of time and space. It could be a mental concept or something even deeper. Omkar is a signifier, it is not the signified. The signified is something very deep within us. We are using this red light to achieve a state of pause inside. Right? It is not, even though Patanjali says that Tasya Vachakaha Pranava, his name is Pranav, Pranav being the Omkar. By calling his name, what is going to happen? Resounding his name, what is going to happen? When you call my name, I respond. But I am not the name is the signifier. I am something else. But because you call my name, I respond to it. Right? You're in school and there's a roll call, you put up your hand. Yes, I'm present when your name is called. You don't say the name is just a label and you're not calling the real thing inside. Right? You can't say that. So, but the name is just signifies something, but we have forgotten that. We have forgotten that. So, similarly, Omkar is a signifier of that divine, that Ishwar sitting within us. I don't know if any of you have attended those talks on the 10 Mahavidyas or listened to the recordings. Now, these are 10 Devis. And these 10 Devis, there was a science of worship. I don't want to go into all that. But there was a science of worship. The worship was done through yantra. The worship was done through yantra. The worship was done through mantra. So when mantra and yantra combine, then a certain pattern, a certain image reveals itself. This is called as Devta, Ishta, Ishwar, Ishwar Pranidhanatva, Patanjali says. This is called as the Devta, the Ishta. My Ishta means the Devta I like, the one I choose. Right? Now, in the initial periods of worship, there were no statues. The statues came much later. The teacher would teach the student how to use the mantra and the yantra in a certain way, and that would create the image of the statue in the, what you call, in the mind. You get what I'm trying to say? You understand? And this was, you were not allowed to draw that image on any piece of paper. That was in the mind of the disciple, the mind of the student. A time came when suddenly the science was about to be lost. And a lot of it is lost today. So the science was about to be lost. So the present gurus, who were not of that capacity as the original gurus, they did not have the same capacity. They told the disciples to now put the statues into stone, so that directly the statue could be worshipped instead of creating the image in the mind through the use of mantra and yantra. Is it this coming across to you? You're understanding this? And when this happened, the statues of these Devis, they appeared all over India simultaneously around the same time. The beauty was that if it was a statue of Kali, right, in her dreadful pose, standing on the corpse of Shiva, Shiva lying on the smashan, the garland of skulls in her neck, and that fiery pose of Kali. If that statue was drawn, and there was no communication in those days, today there's immediate communication. There's no communication. The statues were same throughout India. So if a disciple drew a statue or sculpted a statue in Assam, the same one in South India would be the same. This is called as an objective art, an objective science. So that means that the science of the yantra and mantra created the same image wherever you were for the disciple. But now the, the teacher's following and the disciples following, the teacher felt that now the disciple did not have the capacity to recreate this image, create the statues, make temples, and people started going to the temples to worship the goddess, to get the attributes of those statues within yourself. But the original science was lost. Similarly, when we say the word Omkar, of course, first of all, there must be purification of the mind. If there is no purification of the mind, then attention will keep on roaming to those desires which are unfulfilled, right? And the mind will not become a receptacle to draw a statue, to create a statue. You're getting it? Because there is already content in the mind. Try to understand, when we were children, we used to play with plasticine. Do you know what is plasticine? Or say plaster of Paris, but mud. Mud. Now, the mud of the mind we will call as mind stuff. The mud of the mind we will call as mind stuff. Now, I have a desire for a new house, then the desire reshapes the mud of the mind. That is why it is called as individual mind. But if the mind is free of desires, what they call vasanas, then there is the mud of the mind is now free, it is soft. It is now willing to take any shape given to it. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? So, before we can use the Omkar, we first have to clear the mind of all the nonsense that we have gathered over the years. That is why meditation is important. That is why three-step rhythmic breathing is important, so important. Otherwise, the mind is just a receptacle of unfulfilled desires. Right? And it keeps on repeating, keeps on repeating. One desire goes and another comes. There's one person who had he had his aim in life was to catch the setting sun. So whenever he would see the setting sun, he would start running towards. Before the sun sets, I want to catch the sun. But you can't catch the setting sun. The closer you go to the sun, the further it goes. And that is desire. No desire has ever been fulfilled. One is fulfilled, another is there to take its place. And our whole life is spent in fulfilling desire. So, when the mind is free of desire, when the mind is free of thought, when the mind is free of content, all the habits, we've so many mental habits, emotional habits, instinctive habits, moving habits, all this stuff we've collected in this waste paper basket called the mind. And we keep on adding more to it. People keep on reading knowledge, and it's good to read, but you must know how to empty the mind. Don't clutter the mind with words. Recently, I had been to someone's home for dinner, and they have made a new house, a new bungalow, so the person who had invited us took us to her bedroom, and there was a library of books in the bedroom. I said, don't keep words in your bedroom. Why do you want to keep words in your bedroom? We want to go beyond words. No words can take us into that emptiness. No words can take us into that silence. Even today, I read, but I don't allow what I'm reading to clutter the mind. So, when the mind is empty, when the cells of the mind, the what do you call, invisible cells of the mind, gone into daydreaming. It's okay at your age, it's okay. The invisible cells of the mind, when they are free of any content, and then when you're doing the Omkar, then they start reshaping themselves, these cells. And they reshape themselves into the form of our soul, into the divine, the expression of the divine. It is called, that is the person who is doing mantra is now created in Ishtnu Sthapan Kairu. What to say in English, I don't know. He has, yeah, but that is established the divine inside. Now that divine takes the control of the reins of your life. It takes control of the reins of your desires. Now if it is his desire, then it is your desire. Just now the poor guy is just looking as a witness, and we are fulfilling all our desires. So, the Omkar is a signifier. It is just a word, but as we practice repetition of the word, as our mind empties of all the previous stuff which we've gathered there, thank you. Then this inner statue is created of the divine, and that is its natural form, the natural form of the divine. We have sculpted it ourselves. We have sculpted it through the use of mantra. We have created that inner statue, and that inner statue, that inner presence. Then it becomes the guidance from the inner guru, not the outer guru. But till then, we have to make that effort. It's beautiful, huh? Tea. Excellent. Very nice. I don't know whether I've been able to explain it properly. So the power of Omkar, and that is the purpose of Omkar. In this journey of Omkar, the mind will go through a radical transformation. There are so many layers in the mind, so many layers which we have not observed. Each moment we label the moment as we like the moment or we dislike the moment. If I'm saying something which interests you, then the inner monkey labels like. If I'm saying something and you're getting bored, the inner monkey will label dislike. And this labeling is a continuous process. And the lines of the mouth say, whether a person has labeled more dislike or more like. One exercise I want you all to do is to stand in or sit in front of the mirror and just pull this, pull this, pull this, pull this. Simple it looks. See that it goes straight, or right? Now, if you see many people's mouth over a period of time goes down, U-shaped. They're labeling everything with dislike. This labeling, we are going to do it in this Shibir. This labeling everything with dislike is what Patanjali calls as Dormanasya, bad mind. Dormanasya. Du meaning bad, man mean mind. Bad mind. Each moment we are labeling. So do this exercise, because the more the lips go down, this goes down like this, and in many people it has fallen completely. I can see it from here. You're going to invite more pain and more suffering in your life. So just a simple exercise not to invite pain tomorrow. Sit in front of the mirror and extend this, so that this which has been drooping goes up again. Goes up again. Right? Because the more it droops, more you will invite painful events in life, more you will invite miserable events in life. Because you now enjoy living in misery. Right? We cling to misery. So as we practice this Omkar, many things will change. If I've labeled dislike, then in this moment my mood is good or bad. So the first layer of the mind is my mood. The first layer of the mind is my mood. In this moment, is it like or dislike? If it is dislike, I'm in a bad state, I'm in a wrong state. Work upon it. You have to do this exercise. It tells that you have struggled a lot in life. A lot in life. And I have deep concern for you. I have very deep concern for you. Then come the thoughts, then come the connections between thoughts and emotions, which are called as associations. Then come the emotions, then come the habits, right? Below the habits come the attitudes, below the attitudes come the buffers or the contradictions, and then comes the chief weakness inside of all of us. We have to go. So as we say, we'll uncover each layer of the mind, the likes and dislikes, the moods, the habits, the attitudes. The Omkar will penetrate in. And when the mind is free of all this, we have purified the mind, brought it back to its original state of cosmic mind. No longer is it individual mind, my mind, subjective mind. Because all that I called my, I have emptied, Bhikshu, empty the boat. Emptied the boat. And then in that state, the Omkar will suddenly start vibrating with the cells of the mind stuff, and it will start taking an inner shape. And that inner shape will be created through Omkar, not through my desires, not through my will. And that then the inner statue will come and she'll be established. We'll use the word in the inner temple. That is the real inner God. Pran Pratishtha, they call it. Inner. The statue has now been, what do you call, established in the inner temple. And that statue was always there. But we had not got rid of the, what do you call, to get rid of the, the stuff which is covering the statue. That very famous, what do you call, story of Michelangelo. One day on his morning walk, he was going through the marble quarries in Italy. And the workers were throwing away one block of marble. He says, "Why are you throwing away this? This is useless, this block of marble, nothing." He's saying, "Don't throw it away. It's a very precious block. I can see an angel inside. She's crying that, please release me from this statue, this block of marble." And he created the statue of David from that marble. Right? So, that angel is crying inside. Right? Please release me. But to release it, we have to purify the mind. And the angel cries 3 times in our life. 3 times in our life. And if we ignore it for 3 times, then it will cry again in the next life. But you're all over here, so definitely your angel has cried and you've come over here. So, Omkar is not the divine. Omkar is the name of the divine. And we use that Omkar over a period of time to create the form, the presence of the divine within us, within ourselves. So the mantra is the signifier. Now, they say in the beginning, there was pure emptiness. And in this pure emptiness, a certain center was formed. A certain point was formed. And the energies of that pure emptiness started rotating around this point. And the point slowly became filled with energy, just as a balloon is filled with air. What is the point? But there was a desire in that point. Right? That it wanted, from one it wanted to become many. Ekoham Bahusha. This point is called as Bindu, and it is represented by the Bindu chakra inside. At one point, the balloon had to burst. But can you imagine the cosmic tension? something wants to express itself, it it's concentrated into a point. And that point, when it burst, the physical expression of that bursting is what science calls as the Big Bang. That is only the expression in Bhulok, because the expressions remain the same. And from Bindu, Nad was formed, sound was formed. And that original Nad, which came on the bursting of the Bindu divided itself into 7 levels. Bhu Bhuva Swaha Mahajana Tapa Satyam. The Bindu divided itself into 7 levels. And the original spand, the original vibration which came out on the bursting of that Bindu, right, was called as Nad. And that Nad, it divided itself into 3 letters, A-U-M, A-U-M. And that was how the Omkar was formed. Was how the Omkar was. The rishis could not hear the first 2 steps. They could not hear the gathering of energy inside, where you want to express that energy, but you're holding on to it, and it must have been held on for millions and millions, eons of years. And at one moment it expresses itself, and the sound, the nad comes out of that bindu. And from that sound, the 3 is born, and 3 creates the universe. 3 creates the universe. Right. And they say from the physical universe, from the molecular or the astral universe, and from the mental or electronic universe. 3 universes from that one point. Or we can say it in another way, that God got fed up of remaining in a point. He wanted a playground to play. He said, so he stretched that point, and the ground was made to play the game of life, where he could play the game of life. Right? So all Shiv Shakti come into Bindu, and Bindu expresses itself as Shakti, and that Shakti in that expression creates a sound. It is sound which created this universe. It is Omkar which created this universe. The word pranu comes from the root. The word pranav comes from the root pranu, to roar like a lion, and that expression, the bursting of the bindu. Now, as we practice this Omkar, we are coming closer and closer to the primordial frequency of the universe. That moment where the bindu bursts. And can we go back? Can the sound go back into the bindu and dissolve into that bindu? Because the bindu is here. The bindu is here. Can it go back? Can it dissolve into that bindu? Right? And that is this journey of Omkar. Now, when we write Om on a piece of paper, AUM, but when we say it, what happens in Merkar is that the journey stops. The journey stops. So, supposing I'm creating sound, right? Now, I go into the Omkar, say. So I'll go, So when I close my lips over here and I do the M, the Mkar, the sound stops. I can't, from Mkar, I cannot create any other sound because the two lips close and that's it at the over there. So the idea is to pause the and instead of to create anuswara, ng, to create anuswara. We do it automatically, but we don't realize what we are doing. Right? So it'll go instead of going into I go up anuswara. I go through the top of the mouth into the nose. I make it nasal. The stops at the lips. Now, if I stop, then the journey is going to stop. I will not be able to go further in the journey. That is the last station, Merka. Right? So I have to take a turning from there, and the turning is a nasal, this thing, turning. So I move into the nasal. So I go, right? So I pause over there, and I move into nasal. I move into nasal, and this is very important in practicing the Omkar. Very important. And this is the area of resonance, this part. So once I take it up into the nasal, then I can rotate it in this area. Can you see? It starts resonating. Can you hear one sound creates another sound? Right? I don't know if I'm coming across in this, right? Okay, we'll practice a little. We'll practice a little. So we'll take the sound, and as it comes to ma, we'll stop the sound, and instead of ma, we'll create anuswara, which is ng, anuswara. It will go up through the mouth into the nose, into the nasal cavity, and we'll rotate the sound in the nasal cavity, right? And as we rotate the sound in the nasal cavity, it will start resonating, because this is the area of resonance. We can't create resonance here. Create up here, right? No, I didn't understand. The middle of the tongue will touch. So it'll go, the middle of the tongue. You'll feel the vibrations at the top of the tongue moving up. Don't touch it hard, touch it very soft. So if you touch it very soft, you'll feel the vibrations moving up. We practice. Take a deep breath. We'll do a short ah, short oo, and then move into the anuswara. Right? Now rotate it in the nose. Be very relaxed. When you make the anuswara, as if you are not doing it, is a form of non-doing. It's just a happening, right? Okay. Again, we take a deep breath. What did I do? What did I do? Yeah, but how? By taking a very small breath. By taking a very small breath. As small as possible. You see, when we started the Omkar, we started with a long breath. Now the breath is empty. Get it? Yeah. The tongue initially will touch the top of the palate and then you relax the tongue also. Just move the sound between the nasal cavities. Move the sound between the nasal cavities. You're getting it. Because can you see it's creating resonance? There's an extra sound being created. Right? That is the beginning of resonance. The beginning of resonance.
The lips don't touch.
They'll be slightly open. They'll be slightly open. Slightly open. But try to relax yourself and as if the sound is just happening on its own. Right? We do it again? Yeah? Take a deep breath. Okay. Now you practice this, right? Tomorrow you're doing the Omkar in the morning? Practice? Okay. तो काल थी करजो. Huh? Okay. Now slowly decrease the sound. Make it as if you're hardly doing it. Hardly any sound. Hardly any sound. Right? To that extent that maybe somebody sitting next to you can hardly hear it also. You get what I'm saying? Right? So then you can practice anywhere and everywhere. You can practice anywhere and everywhere. If you're going on a 3-hour flight, the passenger next to you is not going to listen to hear what you're doing. So you can just practice and it becomes a wonderful practice. Right? Yeah. You have to, the mic, because there are people online, that is the problem.
Rajan Bhai, this you explained in the last Shibir also, this Omkar, and I tried to practice in a flight recently, and it happened that when the sound was very low, means the volume was very low, so at that time I was not able to feel the vibration. I did it for somewhere around 15-20 minutes, but then I chodi ditu.
No. Don't bother about feeling the vibration.
Okay.
You want to create resonance. And sometimes it may happen, it may not happen.
Okay.
Right? Most of the time it's not going to happen. But when it happens, you'll feel another sound coming out of this sound.
Okay.
Right? So, as if you're playing the musical instrument, but another instrument against the wall has started playing. Okay. So it'll be a dual sound inside.
Okay, so actually it became like આપણે મનમાં કોઈ જાપ કરતા હોઈએ ને અંદર માઇન્ડમાં ચાલે પણ નો ફિઝિકલ એક્ટિવિટી લાઈક સો ધેન આઈ સ્ટોપ ઇટ.
Now keep a slight physical activity.
Okay.
Very slight physical activity.
જી
Nearly zero.
યા ઓકે Thank
Nearly
you.
zero. You can't hear it.
ઓકે
You can hardly hear it. But that much.
યસ થેન્ક યુ.
Many times it will start resonating. Many times it will just take you through the Brahmarandra up, and you'll dissolve into the inner silence, the silent area inside. Right? And don't worry about it. If you can, if everything is lost, just do it. Just do it. It will transform everything. Right? Okay. Don't be in a hurry for results. It will not start resonating with the primordial frequency immediately. It may take years also. Because there's so much of structure which has to be broken down. So much which we have to first destroy to recreate. To destroy and recreate it. And over a period of time, thousands of seekers have merged into the ultimate through this one sound. Through this one sound. So be sure it's going to take you on your journey. So, does this answer your question now? The second question got answered, right? You will also have a great when we were children, we played hide and seek. Hide and seek, I don't know what it is, right? Huh? So, you're hidden there. No, you're not there. You're hidden there. You're not there. So many times, something will express itself. You'll go to catch it and it'll go away. It is as if Omkar is his name, but the minute you try to name him, he'll go away. Right? He won't come in your hand. He has a name, but he can't be named. It's like that. Right? So, and it's a beautiful inner play which takes place. Right? And it will bring so much joy and happiness in your lives. This inner dance, this inner play of naming the divine. And the divine cannot be named, but you'll still want to name him, and he cannot be named. Right? As we open to this, what you call, pure sound, this pure resonance, the power of sound, all that we had till yesterday will start changing. All our feelings, our thoughts, our sensitivities, our movements, our attitudes, right? It is as if something will change completely and somebody else is taking over. Something inside, we are creating something inside and that is taking over. And that becomes primary and we become secondary. A time will come where you won't want to say it also. You'll hear it because somebody is already saying it. We are only repeating it. and you'll start hearing that somebody saying it. Then the wind will blow and you'll hear the resonance. You'll hear some music from far away and you'll hear the resonance. Right? The soundless sound. And it will, as if it will fill the whole being from inside. You look inside, your cells are also vibrating in the same sound. Whether it is the sound of the wind, the sound of water, in one of my first trips to the US, many years ago, we were staying in one house in Los Angeles, and there was some sound coming all the time. So I was meditating on that sound, like and dislike. So then I said, I must find out what this sound is. So it was the freeway nearby and the sound of all the cars going, right? So when I heard that, I said that I was meditating upon this, right? But even the sound of noise which is outside will become Omkar inside, right? This is, you want to go a little deeper into this? Are you open? It is highly sensual. I won't use the word sexual. It is highly sensual. When you're saying the Omkar, the two lips, they are male and female and they are entering into sexual union. The tongue becomes the ling, the of the male ling, and the upper layer of the mouth becomes the female, yoni. And suddenly there's this merging inside, and it is you're only saying the Omkar, but it'll be an orgasmic union inside. Highly orgasmic user, as if you're having 10,000 orgasms at the same time, in the same moment. Just as sound moves round and round in the temple, the sound will move round and round here. Now here we must understand two words, resonance and reverberation. When sound echoes back, it is reverberation. When we are sitting in the temple and doing the Omkar, it is reverberation, it is not resonance. The reverberation has to jump one step further into resonance. So, reverberation we say in Gujarati, padgha pade chhe. Right? But resonance, something is vibrating at its own self. Our vibration has induced this vibration in something else. Now, the vibration has to be reinforced. So, in the old days, even now, I don't know whether it is prevalent now, but in the old days, the whiskey drinkers, the people used to gather at a party and they would have drinks, and to see the quality of the glass in which you're drinking whiskey and the quality of the whiskey which you're drinking. And of course, Whiskies have different grades of whiskey, and very fine and etc. So they would do something like this, and they would run this round the glass. So they dip their finger in the whiskey and they would run the thing like this. And as you this, a sound would start coming out of the glass. Now, if I do this for 15-20 minutes, the sound will get louder and louder. That sound is resonance. Now, once the sound is loud, then I don't have to do this very hard. I just do this very softly as if I'm not doing anything, and the sound will continue. It just needs a small, push to continue. If I stop, then the resonance will stop. Have I come across this? Right? So you go, and you're resonating it within the nostrils, and then you go very soft. And that much is enough. You don't need more, but you need just that much to create more and more resonance. That initial impulse has to continue. If the initial impulse stops, then the resonance stops. And that resonance which you are creating, right, that breaks down the whole psychological structure. And it is this psychological structure which is the veil, which is the parda, the curtain behind which is the divine. This way. And that breaks down that psychological structure. Now, if you practice this over a period of time, there are different kinds of brain waves. There are different kinds of brain waves. Normally, when the monkey is chattering inside, this is called as beta. Where the monkey calms down a little, especially early morning when we wake up in the morning, our minds are a little, silent. There are no thoughts happening. And that state is called as alpha. It's a beautiful state to be in. And it's a beautiful state to practice your visualization. It gives much more power to your visualizations, that alpha state. And as that alpha state goes deeper, it goes into which one? Theta or delta? Theta. And then when in deep samadhi, it is called the delta state. Now, in the beta state, when we are using the brain in the beta state, it can, process, say, about maximum 30 to 40 bits per second. But another advanced form of samadhi, or you can say the other side of samadhi, is where we can increase the processing power of the brain to 100 bits per second. And this is called as gamma waves. And they were discovered very recently, where they found that these Tibetan monks who were practicing deep meditation, they had the power, their processing power of data increased to 100 bits per second. That is a high-powered computer you have. Now, as we practice this, resonance, the Omkar, right? Over a period of time, you will be able to enter deep theta and deep delta states, but you will also be able to go to the gamma state, where in a single moment you're processing much more information than you were normally processing. See, I look at him, and in that second, whatever I can perceive and grasp, I grasp. But if I look at him for 30 years, then I know much more about him. So when my brain is processing at a high speed, that same look, but I'm processing of 30 years. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? So the processing power of the brain increases. Mr. Tawari used to say, "Okay, in my past life, I swallowed a color TV." Right? So when I look at a person, I see 200 of his previous lives and 200 of his forward lives. Right? He used to say. Right? This is the processing power of deep samadhi. The processing power of deep samadhi. One girl was asking her husband for divorce. He was not giving divorce. So she came to him. So he says, "What date is today? It's 20th January. Wait till 12th of February." Not many days. Now 22 days you have to wait. On 12th of February, he's going to fall in love with somebody else. Then he'll come to you for a divorce. Now this is his processing power of his brain. Can you see? And I can keep on giving you these kind of examples. Right? So when you practice this, you go into, and science has found that this gamma state, if you can enter this gamma state, then it is found that there is improvement in memory. There's regulation of memory. Memory just doesn't come on its own. The vividity of experiences goes up. That is, you are able to see more as a picture than just think about it. Perception is enhanced greatly. All the five senses become much more powerful. The sensory experience of life, the richness of the sensory experience of life increases. There's a proper synchronization, rhythmic balance between the senses and memory. Of course, the brain's processing speed, and many things become spontaneous. Many things become spontaneous. Now, before we end, we have 5 minutes, we'll just talk about this spontaneous. Krishnamurti makes a statement, and he says that I have never made a choice in my life. Right? Where there is clarity, there is no choice. But supposing, say, somebody cheats me and I get cheated. After some time, somebody else comes and cheats me. After some time, somebody else cheats me. Right? We have that beautiful example which I told you of that person who got cheated by the same person again. Right? So then the fifth time I will know without thinking that this person has come to cheat me. Can you get what I'm trying to say? So now suddenly experience, wisdom, the processing of the brain has taken me out of it. I know without thinking. Can you see? When we come to this stage in our life where we don't have to think about things, we know that this, right? Then we have moved from duality into oneness. Then there is no choice. It's just clear that this has to be done. When the inner Ishvara is established inside, I don't like this word established, but we'll use the word established. Inner word is established inside, right? Then he just knows that this has to be done. There is no question of any choice, right? So Krishnamurti's statement, I have never made a choice in my life. Where there is clarity, there is no choice. Right? A beautiful statement. We'll stop over here. Anyone wants to ask anything? Online silent? Huh? No questions. Good, good. Everybody's achieved samadhi. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Good night to everyone. And we'll meet tomorrow again in the morning at